Hi, I'm Fred Joyal. Welcome to video number 3 in Module 1 of Creating the Remarkable Dental Practice. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the ideal mindset for the remarkable practice. And I'm going to give you some insights in how to create that mindset and how to get the whole team to understand why these things are so important. This way of thinking about your business and about patients is so important. And I'm going to start with a little bit of a story here. Eastman Kodak dominated the film industry, and actually in 1996 it was considered the 5th most valuable brand in the world. It was worth $30 billion. 17 years later, in 2013, they declared bankruptcy. The stock was worth nothing. How did this happen? They were in control of the film industry forever, 125-year-old business, and suddenly worth nothing. It's because they forgot what business they were actually in. They, ironically, invented the digital camera and didn't go into production because they thought it would be too slow. They forgot what was really important about what they did, which was people wanted to not just take pictures, they wanted to share pictures. Then along comes a company like Instagram, and in 2 years is worth $1 billion. Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion before they even had any profit, because they figured out how to share pictures. They figured out what the consumer wanted, and they capitalized on new technology. I bring this up because I see dentists making the same mistake all the time. They think they're in the business of clinical dentistry, and they think they can ignore changes in new technology and just keep doing dentistry the way they've always done it, ride it out through the end of their career. They're ignoring that what the patient cares about is the experience of being a patient. Clinical skills are important, but they're not what transforms the patient into somebody who's loyal and accepting treatment. And the reality is the experience of being a patient, and this is the first mindset, the big change, is to understand that the experience of being your patient will be much more important than your clinical expertise. That's the reality, because they can't assess your clinical skills. They could pull every chart in your office. I could too. I wouldn't be able to tell if you're a great or an average dentist, but they can tell in 5, 10, 15 seconds if you're a terrific dentist. They like being there. They like the experience. They like the team. They like how you treat them. They like the vibe of the practice. They can tell that right away, and they will keep experiencing that all through the practice as a way of deciding whether they're going to accept treatment or not. Now, I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to talk about Alfred Hitchcock, the famous director. When he had his scripts for his movies, he actually had 2. He had the blue script, which was, what does he want people to know? What are the audience and the the shooting team, the actors, what do they all need to know? What's the dialogue? What's the scenes? What's the setting? This is the blue script. But he also had a green script that was, what did he want the audience to feel all through the movie? And you may say, oh, well, he wanted them to feel scared. He made scary movies. He made horror movies, stuff like that. No, he had a whole roller coaster ride of feelings that every scene was about. Sometimes he wanted you to feel relaxed. Sometimes he wanted you to feel anxious and like, no, don't go in there, don't go in there. And then they go in there into the room and nothing happens and you relax. And then something really bad happens. So he's planned all of this. He wants you to relax. He wants you to feel comfortable. He wants you to feel like you don't like the villain at all, and then you suddenly realize that the good person's actually the villain. He's got all of these emotional plans all along the way, along with the script. And that's what I want you to be thinking about, is what's the emotional pathway of your patient? What do you want your patient to feel? What would be the most important things for them to feel? Do you want them to feel attractive? Do you want them to feel beautiful, handsome, appealing? Do you want them to feel respected? That would be a great thing for them to feel, wouldn't it? And how about loved? Let's go all the way to that. Wouldn't you want your patients feel that you love them and care about them? And that your team does too, and that's the way you feel about your team? That's a powerful emotional pathway that you can create step by step by the experiences. But also, let's talk about what you don't want them to feel. What do you not want them to feel as part of their experience of the practice? How about unsafe? That's not something you'd ever want them to feel. And it happens all the time. Happens in a lot of businesses and certainly happens in healthcare. But there's all sorts of triggers that could create that feeling. Now that's great in an Alfred Hitchcock movie, but not in a dental practice. And how about mistrust? You don't want them to feel that either, do you? Because everything's over. Remember, I talked about trust and value being essential. Mistrust is the last thing you want them to feel. And here's a really important word. And nobody wants to feel this way. Insignificant. Do you want to feel insignificant ever? No. Do you ever want your patients to ever feel that way? No. And it's very easy to make that happen just by doing the wrong things. And it's very easy to make sure it never happens by having the right mindset and knowing how important it is to create that experience. So think about the emotional pathway and understand that that matters way more than your clinical skills. Have great clinical skills. Use great technology, because that's the other mistake that Kodak made. Is like, let's not change our technology to digital technology, and Instagram comes along and takes them right down. It's the same thing in a dental practice. Adaptability. Remember, I talked about that as well. Adapting to new technology to make a more comfort-conscious patient experience, to change the experience, the emotional pathway of that patient, to change the green script of your patient experience. That's what you want to be doing. Hi, I hope this sample gives you a sense of the value these videos can bring to train your team and excite them and get them all on the same page about creating a remarkable patient experience. Because you may not be able to make dentistry fun, but you can make it remarkable so that your patients can't resist saying amazing things about you. This whole course is designed to help you create a remarkable practice that will thrive for decades to come. So sign up right away and get started on this training. It's going to make an enormous difference. It's going to transform your practice. Meanwhile, enjoy the rest of this video. Now, let's talk a little bit more about some very practical thinking about the dental practice, about the dental business. What is the true economic model of a dental practice? Now, a lot of dentists would say, oh, well, I'm an insurance provider. I'm essentially a tooth maintenance, tooth repair shop, whatever. I'm that sort of healthcare provider. But dentistry is very different than most of healthcare, because a lot of what we do is optional. The simple reality is, and I figured this out many years ago, is that when it comes to dentistry, extraction solves the problem, the immediate short-term problem. And it's tons of dentists doing tons of extractions now, and tons of people calling 1-800-DENTIST and saying, I need a tooth pulled. It's like, that's a little extreme for maybe the problem that you have, but I understand that's what you're thinking, because it does make the immediate problem go away. It's far from a high standard of dentistry, but it makes dentistry unique because everything else that we do is a higher standard of care. It's optional. It's almost, the interesting term would be on-demand health care. And all the great stuff is, implants are way better than an extraction or even a bridge. but it's on demand. It's optional. And so this means something interesting. It means dentistry almost has what I would call a retail aspect to it. You're in an environment that's very different than an insurance-driven business. And I think this is a great thing. Hey, we don't want to be entirely driven by insurance in terms of what we can and cannot do. If you've experienced that in healthcare, I experienced several things in healthcare where the thing that, in fact, saved my life once was a scan that I did that I had to pay out of pocket for. Some of medicine is on demand as well in that aspect. Most of the good dentistry is on demand. So we have to think about that model and what that means. If that's true, if we are in essentially retail healthcare, and like I said, that's a great thing. That's why dentists can make way more than physicians, is because of that retail option, that on-demand service that we offer. But it means something very specific. It means everyone in the practice has to be comfortable with the idea of selling dentistry. Now, I said the bad word. I said selling. Nobody likes the idea of selling. I didn't go to dental school to be a salesman. No, but this is the reality, is when you have something somebody doesn't understand that's important, you have to talk them into it. Sales is just communication with a purpose. It's neither bad nor good. That product that you are selling may be good or bad, but selling itself is just persuasion with a purpose, effective communication that gets the person to buy or accept something that they should be doing. And then it may, we do it all the time. We talk our kids into going to college. We talk people into getting life insurance. We talk them into exercising and things like that. So we got to twist their arm to do this stuff a lot of times. We got to be persuaded to do the stuff that's important to us, especially long term. Remember the big challenge for human beings. A lot of trouble thinking long term. So selling something good is not a bad thing. And if you think about what we are offering in a dental practice, what you offer on a daily basis is this amazing thing, self-confidence. How many of your patients walk out of that practice feeling more confident than when they walked in? How often does that happen to you? I'm betting all the time, probably more than once or twice a day even. And if somebody said to me, this is your child, and there's only one thing you can give this child, everything else will be out of your control, I would say, I want to give them self-confidence. Because everything flows from that. This is an amazing thing to give people. And people don't appreciate this is what they're getting. And of course, we live in an appearance-based world, and you're making them look better. You don't have to look at the magazine stands. It's all about appearance. And more so all the time. But this is, I don't want to go too much into this, but there's some great studies done on how important it is for human beings to see symmetry and how we're influenced by that. We're helping people to look better, which means they're going to get a better job most of the time. Because let's face it, there's certain parts of the country where you can be missing number 8 and still get a decent job, but those aren't many places. You want to have good-looking teeth. It'll hold you back now more than ever, especially now as more and more people are even caring about orthodontics than ever before. Straight, white teeth have become essential in the workplace, in the career arc. And of course, that leads to better relationships. You got a better job. You feel better about yourself. You feel more self-confident. You've got a better chance at attracting somebody that you're going to be happier with in a relationship. And so all of these things are real elements of a truly happier life. This is what you provide. This is what you get to do every day. I don't get to do this. This is a great gift. And of course, as I said before, there's great nobility in doing something that people don't appreciate until afterwards. That you have to help them understand the value of. You have to build that trust so that they appreciate what you're doing until afterwards. And I'll make a point about that in a little bit. But I know we don't like the word selling, so let's change the terminology. Let's change it from something like, let's do like the car business did. You know, you can't buy a used car anymore. It's a pre-owned car. There's no more used cars anywhere, just pre-owned cars. Nobody owned this car. Some pre-owner put 30,000 miles on it. So it's brand new, no owners, just pre-owned. It's crazy, but you just change the terminology. But if you're having trouble with the mindset, here's your chance to change it by just saying, let's call it facilitating treatment acceptance. Because that's what you're doing, effective communication to facilitate the acceptance of treatment that's going to change that patient's life. That's going to have a profound effect on them, not your life. And that's what's important to get across. That's when selling fails, is when somebody thinks it's about you making money. That's the breakdown. We're going to talk a lot about effective communication in this course, because creating a remarkable patient experience is about effectively communicating the value of dentistry, not that you want to make more money, because that's when the trust ends. So that's important to remember. And now there's another aspect of human nature that we have to adapt to. And I'm very much about accept human nature for what it is, okay? Don't say it should be something else. I know dentists say people should want more dentistry. They should want to take care of their teeth. They should. They just don't. Just like they should save money. They just don't. So, you know, everybody knows you should save money. The half of Americans get $300, $400 in the bank. It's human nature, having trouble thinking long term. There's also something else about human nature, and this is how people have changed their spending in the past 15 or 20 years. And it's, if they have something that they're going to spend money on, and it doesn't enhance their lifestyle, it's just a utility, it just solves a basic problem, it's not making their life in their mind better, they want the cheapest possible way they can get it. And the cheapest thing is pretty easy to find nowadays. You just pull out your phone and there it is. And so when people are looking for the cheapest, they can find it anywhere, because in their mind, it's not enhancing their lifestyle. But if it is enhancing their lifestyle, like I said, maybe chrome wheels, maybe it's a gold watch, maybe it's a bigger house, whatever it is, nice clothing, if it's going to enhance their lifestyle, maybe it's a tattoo that enhances their lifestyle. If they want that, maybe it's the biggest possible TV. If they want that, they will spend the money. They will find the money. I'll give you a simple example. When I eat ice cream, I don't eat it a lot. Pretty much going to eat the whole pint when I do. I buy Jenny's ice cream. It's $12 a pint. You know why? Because if I'm going to eat ice cream and have to exercise to get rid of the weight, I'm going to eat the best possible ice cream I can get, because I'm not going to eat it every day. Now, if I'm having a party with a bunch of 5-year-old kids, I'm buying the cheapest, biggest quantity of ice cream I can get, because they don't care. It's going on the floor in their bodies and everything like that. It's about utility versus enhancing my lifestyle with that pint of whiskey pecan ice cream. It's the same thinking, but this is the problem that we have. Most people see dentistry as a maintenance service. So this is where we have to get out of that mindset that we're in the maintenance business, and convince people, as well as ourselves, that we are enhanced lifestyle providers. That's going to make all the difference in how they respond to you and how we interact with those patients. So keep that in mind. We are not in the maintenance service. Think about the amazing things that you do. Think about how many times you've profoundly changed a patient's life. I've done surveys of dentists The average dentist doesn't have to think about it for a month. The study I actually did was 86% of dentists could remember a patient in the past month that they had profoundly affected their life with their treatment. That's an amazing thing to get to do. And it's because dentistry is actually valuable. It's way more valuable than most people appreciate. Dentistry, and this is a mindset change that all the team needs to wrap their heads around. Dentistry is a phenomenal investment. It's one of the best investments people can make. If somebody needs $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 worth of dentistry or more, how better, if they need that treatment, if they need that restorative care, how better could they spend that money that would have such a long-term value, that would affect every smile, every kiss, every meal, every conversation for the rest of their lives? That's a phenomenal investment. And this is what the team has to all understand. It's not like you're talking yourself into something. This is the reality. It's a great investment. And so when you understand that, when you appreciate that, when you project that to your patients, that's when they start to believe it. Because when you meet somebody who really believes something, who's really serious about that thing or fanatical even about it, you go, I'm going with you. I believe you too. That's where the trust comes in, is when you are certain that this is one of the best investments that they can make. Really powerful shift in mindset. That alone will transform your practice. Along with all the other things that you're going to end up doing, that is pivotal. And also, just to reinforce that, think about all the things that people spend money on: cars, jewelry, electronics, clothes, houses even, that they have buyer's remorse about. People don't have buyer's remorse about dentistry. They're not coming back to you saying, geez, is there a way I can get the $30,000 back and just go back to dentures? I'm not interested in these implants after all, now that I have them. They're never going to say that. They have pre-buyer's remorse. They get sticker shock. But once they have the great dentistry, they're not going to want to undo the root canal. They're not going to get rid of the veneers. You've transformed their life. You've given them real long-term value. But again, this is human nature. We got to talk people into what they should do for themselves. Just like saving money and eating right and exercising. We all know we need to do that. We just don't. We need a trainer. We need a coach. We need a life insurance salesman. We need a financial advisor. We need somebody to make us do the stuff that we should do. Because we're busy spending money on the stuff we'd like to do. No, it's more fun. It's more fun, and then we run out of money before we've done the right thing. I mean, think about how they sell smoking. Look at this. This is cigarettes. It says smoking kills. This is their marketing campaign. Okay? This is somehow, in spite of the fact that it will kill you, and it says it on the box, this is a lifestyle enhancement for some people. Can't think long term, can't think about the impact of that on their lives. And it's the same thing with neglecting their teeth. Oh, I need to go to the dentist every 5 years. It's not a big deal. No, it's a big deal because it's aggregating in the wrong direction. And this is where we have to help them understand what the real investment is in themselves, so that they appreciate it. And then what do? They tell other people. It's like, you're missing the boat here. You're not taking care of your teeth. They become your disciples out there, your walking, talking billboards that are telling the world about how great you are because you've had a tremendous impact on them. But, you know, human nature is very simple. Avoidance and denial are how we get through most of our days. Okay, so it's very easy to be in denial about what's happening to our teeth. It's very easy to avoid the dentist because to most people it's not that much fun. So we have to help them. We help them by changing our mindset, by not believing that it's our clinical skills that is what's attracting the patients and keeping them and making them loyal. Certainly the results of those clinical skills, but it's about the remarkable patient experience. It's about the emotional pathway, the green script that you're working all the way through the experience of the practice, from the first time they see something online, to the first phone conversation, to walking through reception, to meeting the staff and getting a tour of the office, to hearing case presentation, to helping them to pay for the dentistry. All of that. How are they greeted? Did you call them later if they had anesthesia to see how the treatment went? All of that is the emotional pathway. So remembering that that's important, remembering that dentistry is a phenomenal investment. Realize that you need to become, in their minds as well as your own, an enhanced lifestyle provider. Enhanced lifestyle provider. It's a great thing to be, isn't it? And it changes everything, because now you're not maintenance. Now you're a place where they want to spend money and they want to get value. And so that's what's important to keep in mind, and understand that everything that you do is going to influence case acceptance. It's either going to increase it or decrease it. Nothing is going to be neutral on this green pathway, this green script that you're working to give that patient the remarkable patient experience that's going to transform your practice, because they're going to be accepting more, they're going to be talking about you more, and you're going to have a highly productive practice that's really enjoyable, and you're adapting. Adaptability, still important. Always going to be important as more and more changes come. You don't want to be Kodak. You want to be Instagram. You want to be adapting the technology and understanding how the consumer thinks and behaves, and taking advantage of the technology to give them the best possible experience. So these are the mindset shifts that will make all the difference as you do everything else that I'm going to talk about in creating the remarkable patient experience and creating that great practice of the future. Use the worksheets, give me your comments, and make sure the whole team gets on the same page about their mindset and understanding these really important points. Let's go over these mindset changes one more time. First, the experience of being your patient will matter much more than your clinical expertise. Also, selling something good is not a bad thing. You are in a retail healthcare profession. You want to become an enhanced lifestyle provider. Why? Because dentistry is a phenomenal investment. And of course, everything that you do influences case acceptance. Nothing is neutral. It's either positive or negative. These are the mindset changes that are going to help you create the remarkable patient experience. This is the foundation. Incorporate these, make sure the whole team is on board with these, and it will make a phenomenal difference. As always, I want to hear your comments, use the worksheets, and congratulations on working on creating a remarkable dental practice.